So the next thing we're going to learn to do is how to connect our FastAPI application to a database. And for a database, we are using the Oracle database. And we are using the Oracle database for many reasons. One of the reasons is it's the best database in the world, as DB engines rank them. The second database would be MySQL, but there's an advantage over MySQL, and that is many enterprise customers use Oracle. And if you want to actually implement and create some FastAPI projects for an enterprise, it would be also good to learn how to do it with Oracle. There's not much difference actually between Oracle and MySQL in terms of the development process. It will be very, very similar, but if we can use the best database in the world, then much better. And there's another advantage, and that is if you search for Oracle always free resources, if we get to the second link, I believe it is, we have a very generous Oracle offer for always free resources. And we can get up to 2 Oracle Autonomous Database for free. It's a hosted solution, so you don't have to take care of the database, and that's very, very generous. And on top of that, we'll get up to 4 instances of ARM Ampere A1 compute for 4 instances a month. And that's also very generous. At the end of this lessons, or at the end of the course, we will be learning how to deploy our FastAPI to one of the instances, or actually we will be learning 2 or 3 deployment options, and we will be able to do it in the Oracle Cloud because of the always free services that we get with Oracle. So now let's go and create our account. Now let's go to cloud.oracle.com. Click on sign up. You need to be very precise on how you enter the information. If there's any error, any misspelling on your address, Oracle will not accept the account creation. It will show up something like credit card validation error or something like that. It's actually usually not a credit card validation error, but Oracle probably interprets that you're trying to hide information, or you already have one account and it won't let you create another account, or you're trying to hide your name, your last name, and you need to be very precise. And a recommendation that I have read online is that you should look at a recipe from a credit card and enter the information exactly like in the credit card recipe. So let's try to create an account. And if you enter the information very precisely, you won't have any issue with an account creation. So I confirmed my email address. I'm now creating my password, adding my information. I hit continue. I will save. Enter my address. I will hide this information from you. So I was able to create a new account. It's setting up the account. Let's sign in. Save the password. Secure validation method for proof you out, 2 types of verification, multi-factor authentication, enable secure verification. Select a method. I've downloaded this application already. I've enrolled already. But I'm cloud native developer, web app developer. Not right now. What we're going to do is go to Oracle database, create an autonomous transaction processing database. We're going to show only always free resources. We're going to create an admin password. We're going to select secure access from allowed IP and VCNs only, and select the CIDR block up. We don't want to select require MTLS. And we're going to enter our email address. I want to create autonomous database. We're going to skip the tour. Skip. So it's provisioning. Okay, it's available. The next thing we want to do is go to database connection, download the instance wallet. I'm going to show you what the different connection types are. I'm going to enter a password. You have different connection types. With MTLS, you need an instant wallet. That's called a thick connection. And if you go to TLS, that's called a thin connection. We're going to use actually thick connection with an instant wallet in SQL Developer. We can use both, and I'm gonna show you how to do both. So let's go to SQL Developer. And let me create a new connection. New connection. Admin. Let's do the following. Let's do something first. Let's go to database actions, SQL. Let's go to database users, sorry. And let's create a new database user, which is that admin. Let's create user. Let's call it. Let's create a password for that user. Enable web access and give it an 25 megabytes on tablespace data. Create user. And now we go to SQL Developer. Now we can create a new connection. We call it wallet connection. Put our username. I set this one. Save the password and we say it's a cloud wallet. And we go and which one is that? I have two wallets, the one and then in 6F. This one is the latest. Let's test it. Okay, success. Let's save it. And let's connect. Okay, we have a wallet connection. Let me show you how to create a thin connection. Let's go to new connection here. I always forget let's put Oracle database JDBC thin connection string. Here we have it. Okay, we need to, let's create thin connection as the name, the username. Let's save the password. And we put the string here. We go to the database connection here, select a TLS connection, select, copy the string, go back in here, paste the string. Let's test the connection. Success, save the connection. All right. Okay, now let's try a connection with Python. Let's create a simple file called, let's try it again. Connection. Let's call it Oracle connection. Oracle connection test.py. And we need to import Oracle DB. We have not installed that yet, so we go to our terminal. We Control C here. We pip install Oracle DB. Okay, now we can import Oracle DB. Okay, and we need the username, we need the password, we need the connection string. So the username, the password, and the connection string. Where do we get the connection string from? Again, we go to database connection and we copy not the MTLS one, but the TLS one. We copied this connection string. Okay, now that we got this information, we will create a new connection equals Oracle DB connect, and we have user equals username, password equals password, and DSN is the connection string. And let's try that. If we're able to connect Python, Oracle. Yeah, no errors. We're able to connect. That's good. Obviously, when we're writing a program, we don't want the username, password, and connection string in our programs. So we're going to create a new file called .env, where we're going to store our variables. And we are going to call it Oracle DB username, Oracle DB password, and we're going to call it Oracle DB DSN. Okay. I'm going to delete this file. We don't need it anymore. It was just for testing purposes. And now I'm going to create a folder called app. I'm going to create every folder needs an init PI file. I'm going to move the main into the app. And I'm going to create a new app settings.py. So why do I want an app setting PI? Is because when I want to get some settings from the env, I want to have some code completion, and I want to be able to read it from the app settings class that I will be defining now. So let me show it to you from, let me go from Pydantic settings, and I think we need to install it. And it is Pydantic settings. I think we need to pip install Pydantic settings. From Pydantic settings, import base settings and settings config dict. I'm going to create a class called settings that inherits from base settings. I'm going to say Oracle DB username will be a string. I'm going to say Oracle DB password will be a string, and Oracle DB DSN will be a string. If I'm in a development environment, I'm able to set a username here. And if there is no env file, it would take it from here. If there is an env file, if I add this model config line, it will take it from the env file. Now we want to define a get settings function, which returns settings instance. And since I will be calling this a couple of times, we will do from functions, from func tools, import ru cache, and it will cache this function, and it will make it more performant. So now we can actually use the get settings in order to get the settings from the env file. So how do we do it? We're going to create a new file called database.py, and I'm going to import from app settings, import get settings. I'm going to define a settings equals get settings, and my user, let's username equals settings dot, and here I should have autocompletion. Oracle username password equals settings dot Oracle password. DSN should be settings dot Oracle DSN. Now I need to make use of create engine, and for that we'll be using SQLAlchemy. So I need to do pip install SQLAlchemy. And from SQLAlchemy import create engine. So my engine will be create engine, and we will make it an F string here until that we're using the Oracle database driver. And we're going to put the user, we're going to put the password, not the user, it will be the username, the password, and that we're using this connection string. And this should create an Oracle database connection. So in order to use the connection, we want to define a get database that we can call from outside, and we're going to say database equals session, because the create engine will be, let me import from SQLAlchemy.org, import session. Okay. And I will return this session. So I'm going to try yield database, and finally db close. Okay. So once we call the getDB, we will return a session that is binded to the engine of the Oracle database. So we will be able to execute some database actions with SQLAlchemy by using the DB that we get from getDB. The next thing I want to do, I want to create an app, new folder, new file called database models.py. And what I want to do is create a new class called base, which inherits from declarative base from SQLAlchemy ORM import declarative base. It will be an empty class. I will say pass. And I want to create a new table, test table, which inherits from base. It will have the table name of test table. And in Oracle database, you don't have an auto increment kind of feature the same way you have in Postgres, SQL, or MySQL, but you have an identity column, and we need to define it, which does exactly the same. I say it identity, and we need to import it from SQLAlchemy identity, which we say it will start at 1 and it will increment 1. And then we define the ID, which will be a column. We need to import column from here. We will say that it's an integer. And we will say that it is an identity column. It is a primary key true. And we will define a test column number 1 equals a column. It will be a string. We need to import the string of 50. It will be unique, will be true, and nullable will be false. So we have defined the table. Now I want the table to be auto-created. So I need to add one additional line in here. And we need to import from app import database models. And I need to do database models dot base. Dot base dot metadata dot create all. And we need to bind it to the end, bind it to the engine. So with this line, we are auto creating whatever is in this file in the database model. So let's do an additional thing. And in the app main file, let's remove all this. Let's create a path operation app. Let's get from here, create the function get root with DB. And let's just return message hello world. So this is doing nothing but just making a GET request. Let's run ubicorn, by the way, by calling app, because that's the folder name. Main, it's the file name. App, it's the app instance, the FastAPI instance. Click enter, reload. And let's go to our Postman, get the root. We should see the hello world. If we go to SQL developer and connect to the database, I will go to the schema browser. If I reload, I don't see any tables created. And that's because, why is that? So I'm actually not doing nothing with the database. So what I need to do is a couple of things. So first, from app import database. This should actually work already. Let me test it out. Let me save it. Pydantic settings not found in the database. My database model. App settings. It's there. Which ubicorn? I'm using the local ubicorn. That's weird. Pip install ubicorn. Which ubicorn? It's using the local ubicorn instance and not the one from the VNV. Ubicorn is here. Let me deactivate. Let me search. Then activate. Which ubicorn? Okay, now it's work. Now it should work. I know why I did that. Okay, now we go to the tables, refresh, and we got the test table auto-created. Why did that auto-create? Because in the main, we're just importing the database, and in the database, it's executing the create all. So everything we put in the database model here, a test table in this case, will be auto-created. So the next thing I want to do is actually play a little bit around with the test table, add some data to it just manually. Let's create a couple of names. Let's commit. We get the ID number 1 should be in there because of the identity table column, sorry. We create another one. We create another one. And we commit. We should have 3 committed rows in the test table. And now what I want to do is actually make use and try to read that information from my get operation. Now what I want to do is from my get path operation, I want to read information from the database. So how do I do that? I use dependency injection. I want to have a database, a variable, which I'm getting from typing. I should import that. Oops. From typing import annotated. I will be receiving a session. Remember that, let me write it fully. I will use get db, not like that. I will use a get db in here. And remember, get db returns a session. So I need from SQLAlchemy.orm import session. And from FastAPI import depends. And from let me put database get db. So what this line is doing, it basically is using a dependency injection in here, or not dependency injection, an injection here of the code. It is calling getDB. It returns a type of session and it puts it in a variable DB. So once this line gets called, it will get the database and return a session into the DB variable. So what I can do now, is to get the first result, or let's get them all. All results equals DB query. We want to query what? From app import database models. We want to query a database model table test table, and we want to get all. And yeah, let's do it like that. And let's return all results. Let's save it and use Postman, send, and we get the results. So it's very easy to get information from the database. Once we get the connection, we just need to use this injection depends to get a database, return the session, put it into the variable DB, and use SQLAlchemy to do some queries in the database.